And we're live.
Yeah, we are.
Let's get the countdown today.
We were both running late.
No, I was here. I was just noodling a little bit. So, Chad said he's going to show up too. He just got home, so it'll be a couple minutes.
Okay.
And we'll cut the music volume down a little bit. Wasn't mean to jump that loud. Well, again, I put the word out. We'll see what's happening until anything else happens. I guess I'm working on this.
All right.
I had one other person talking about making a small donation. Like, I don't really care what the size of the donation is. I mean, within reason. I'm not going to probably do a drawing for less than $20, but 20, 30, 50, whatever. That's anything over $20, it's a donation, you know. There'll be smaller drawings for that, but still, it's the same thing, right? That money's not going towards me. I have no intention of taking that. So. The question on Goliath is how far does he want me to go? Because it seems like he's interested in doing a painting with it. But I don't know what his limitation is. So until he tells me that, I'm kind of stuck. Anything new and interesting for you?
Not particularly. Oh.
Not particularly.
Oh, golly. I was thinking put some disco lights on that thing and he'll be dancing around that steeple. Oh.
You enjoy the thought of going to hell.
Oh.
Lighting's still screwed up here. I've got a shadow from a clear object. So I'm trying to line this up to extend just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Let's see how it works.
You know I'm just as large as your picture, right?
That's okay for the moment. I'm just moving around with.
I'm just making sure you know.
Yeah, well, Dad's joining too, so. That make you happier?
Well, I don't think people show up for my good looks. So your picture is kind of the star, isn't it?
Well, hopefully people are showing up to help people today, you know.
Okay, but still.
So far, I ain't seen anybody show up, so except for you and me. Still where we at, though. And yeah, Dr.
Hey, it's Jeff.
What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Yeah, it's going.
You standing up again?
Yeah. I just got home from dinner, so I didn't really have time to make a place to sit down.
No.
So, I've got a tangent between the top of his thigh and the top of his wing. See how that line looks like it's the same line?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's where the tangent is for anybody that's wondering. You should make sure that whatever ends doesn't end in a line with something else, so that you're not confusing it with something else. So we're gonna use the arc on that just by a little bit.
So this is some quite dramatic music.
Yeah, this is the fantasy music. It goes on to a few different speeds and tones and feelings. And you know that I've always liked doing music, like soundtracks when I'm working anyway.
Yeah. You wanna
Well,
go
it
hunt
doesn't-
down some urukai.
What's that?
Makes you want to go hunt down some urukai.
Okay, good. Urukai don't deserve to live.
Wouldn't that be some shit? The fucking the politically correct fucking Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that's what they're doing.
Oh, God. So, you want to hear a funny story about Lord of the Rings?
Sure.
So,
Is it
it's not
real
super funny, but it was
like,
funny.
Funny how? Funny how?
So-
funny like.
Funny like it'll make you want to slap your forehead. So, you know, I'm a teacher. It's all good. And,
No, he's a teacher.
yeah, my boys are part of the Quiz Bowl team. And I don't know if you've ever been on a Quiz Bowl. But basically the way it goes is you get a question right on your team, you get a bonus question. Okay? And they were at a meet, and the other team got a question correct. So they got a bonus question, and they're talking about items of like it was like a category, and this category was like articles of clothing or things that you wear. And so they go through this big long thing about how Gandalf couldn't take this because he was scared of becoming the Lord of what? And the opposing team said the Lord of Cloaks. I was like, what? The Lord of Cloaks?
They're confusing Harry Potter.
I guess. I don't know what the... I'm just like, what?
Or maybe they caught Gandalf making out in the cloakroom.
Now, it was kind of funny because my boys were just like, oh, this is easy. And they just upset because they thought the other team was going to get another point. and then they didn't get it right. And they just like, how do you miss that? If someone says Lord of the, what's the next word? I don't care what the category is.
Only 2 words comes to my mind.
Real
Rain
Jack.
or yeah. I don't know if anybody remembers that book or not, Lord of the Flies, but I do.
Yeah,
I read
yeah.
it.
It's my wife's favorite book. I don't know why, but that's her favorite.
It's been a while since I've read it, but it definitely left a lasting impression on me. I'll definitely say that.
My wife reads it about once a year, at least.
Wow.
Like, if I have to teach it, I ask her questions. So I know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, everybody
I'd
has
say
something
she knows.
they're really knowledgeable about, right?
Well, I mean, I know it pretty well, but she just seems to know everything about it. Like, she is to Lord of the Flies as I am to Gatsby. So, you can ask me all kinds of... What?
Been a long time since I've read that.
Oh. Well, I read that one every year. Primarily because I teach it, but still.
See, the last book that I actually read cover to cover, which actually really wasn't that long ago, was maybe a year ago. To some people, that might be a long time, but to a non-average
I
reader,
finished 3 books last week.
Jeez.
but that was a version of the Necronomicon. Crap, my son has it in the other room. I forget it. Actually, hold on a minute. I'll go get it.
It's the Necronomicon.
Right.
That was hilarious.
He's like, did you see the other one?
Yeah. But the Necronomicon was just, I mean, that was beautiful.
Yeah, I thought it was funny too, but the other one, that was what my wife sent me in reply. Which is what made that funny for me.
Yeah.
By Donald Tyson is the author.
All right.
So far, I've read it probably 4 or 5 times. I'd have to say it's probably one of the books I've read the most. To be honest with you, based off of a lot of like Lovecraft's type of.
Yeah, it's a
lore.
pastiche.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Conan pastiches too.
Mm-hmm. Just fascinated by the lore and I guess,
I think the book that I've read the most is Boy's Life by Robert R. McCammon.
I have read that actually.
But that's basically To Kill a Mockingbird in the 50s in Birmingham or Alabama.
Yeah.
With a boy instead of a girl.
Yep. Pretty much.
I mean, basically, there are other elements, and there's no guy on trial, but it is. You can tell it's his homage to Harper Lee.
Yeah.
And then I've read The Man Who Never Missed a few times too.
No,
It's gory with the typos. What's that?
Never read that one.
It is kind of what you would get if you crossed Star Wars, Dune, and Highlander.
It's kind of an interesting.
The Man Who Never Missed?
Yep.
It almost just the title alone kind of almost conjures like assassin type of vibe or something like that in my head anyway.
That's that's the title is perfect for the story when you get to the end of the story.
Yeah.
And it's one of those stories like, I really enjoyed that story, and I read the entire series. It's called the Matador series. He starts getting, I would basically say, politically correct about stuff.
Yeah.
A few books into it, and you can see like underpinnings of that sentimentality throughout the whole thing, but it's good in spite of it.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, the main guy's name is Kahaji, and he is he works for a confederation of and he's in a military, and he's at war with these, I guess you could basically say, Christians or some religious
Hold on. There you go.
order.
Yeah, I think probably the last books that I read that had something to do with like a military type of thing would probably have to be a couple of the Sharps novels.
This isn't military per se. I mean, it is a little bit, but it's not. And I just kind of cut off my explanation because Brett was like, "Hang on," and walked away. So I was trying to not have to repeat it. But so he in the beginning, he's forced to basically mow down these unarmed religious people that still keep marching towards them after they're shooting into the crowd, and he just can't stomach it, so he leaves. Like, he leaves the service, walks away. And so I guess it would kind of be like a stormtrooper that got sick of killing innocent people.
Yeah, like Finn, I think is, or no.
Finn never made it that far, though. I mean, it would be like the stormtroopers that killed Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen, can't live with themselves and walk off. But he literally puts down his weapon and walks off right from there, and goes on this quest where he's hopping from planet to planet, and he can. And it's in the future, so he can get a higher education by means of reading books and going to college and taking a college course, or he can get like a partial implant that gives him information, or he can get everything downloaded direct into his brain.
Yeah.
But he ends up meeting this mysterious kind of Arabish dude. It's like he's got a turban, but he's got a mask across his face, hanging across his face like you see his eyes. And he's a master of martial art, and he's in this martial art Penjat called it, and has the 97 steps. And basically, he goes on this quest for a little while where it's the Highlander part of it's kind of like you can go from planet to planet, and every time you confront somebody, it's called walking the Musashi Flex. And if you're on the Musashi Flex, you challenge anybody. It's basically MMA on the streets, but it's kind of like Highlander, and that you could level up or you can kill somebody, but it's understood that can happen. But the person that decides whether or not you're fighting in that challenge is the higher level person.
Yeah.
So you can go up and challenge anybody, but it's the more skilled or the higher level person that decides whether or not they'll bother fighting you.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, like, that's not the whole story. That's kind of a subplot of the story. So this guy ends up setting up a bar where he's serving the soldiers that he walked away from, the corps that he walked away from, to get information from them, because like he'll get them drunk and all that and just glean information from them. So yeah, I mean, what he does with that, and I'm not even gonna mention why he's called the man, why it's called the Man Who Never Missed, except for the fact that it's got something to do with him. And it's really an anti-military book, but it's done so cleverly that you don't care. It's not really.
Yeah.
It's not really important that it's anti-military. It's important that he pulls off what he pulls off, and then they go expand it after that.
Yeah.
Hey, Darren's mom says, "Hey, Rich."
Hey, that's
It's Darren's
it's
mom.
Andrea. It's Andrea.
Oh, okay.
Andrea. Thank you.
You know her. I was talking about the Phoenix that I did on her back.
Yeah.
She's got a big back piece and she's got some sleeve work from me. Well, partial sleeve work from me.
She's the one who also has the dog portraits, right?
No, that's Vicky.
Oh, okay.
No, she's got diabetic symbol. I did that, kind of fixed an eye tattoo and made it look like it's biomech and coming out of her skin a little bit.
Yeah.
She took third place with that tattoo. Has a blackwork tattoo, but it's a cover up. So now Vicky's the one with the dog portrait and the giant deer portrait.
Yeah.
I don't think Vicky has visited the screen.
Yeah. By the way, now I think about it, Jared says hi. He was the one who had a lot of the Second Amendment stuff and the pier pilings and ocean theme sleeve that you had done.
Oh, the cover up and stuff.
Yeah.
The sea glass and all that stuff that I did.
Yeah.
I tried to contact him. He didn't answer me, so I'm like, okay.
Hey, Dennis Kelly says, "Hey, Rich, how's it going?"
Hey, some people did show up. How you guys doing? So, the only person that's kind of jumped in on the deal for making donations for sketches was last week, and he wanted Goliath. So, but this is going to be a larger sketch, and I'm not sure whether it's going to be a painting or anything else. So if anybody wants smaller sketches for smaller donations, I will stop this and get back to it. Because the purpose of this is to help the victims. It is purely altruistic.
Oh.
Yeah, we're not surprised that he turned up the way he turned up. I think it's awful funny that it took him a day to find him less than a mile away from where he dropped his car off. I say funny, but I mean suspicious.
I don't think we thought you were laughing about it.
Right. Well, there's many kinds of funny. There's funny ha-ha. There's...
Yeah, I know.
Thank you, Dennis. Let's see. Now, Andrew, you said something about wanting to donate. Did you figure out what you wanted to do? Or do you want to purchase something that's pre-drawn? Oh,
It does.
I'll fix that, Dennis.
Oh, nice.
Demon in the Night's name is Chad.
Yes.
He said he had to zoom in real close to see your name.
Yeah. It is kind of long, so.
Well, then you're small because, as Brett was saying, the point of this is the artwork, and
Yeah.
like really the point of this is the fundraiser tonight. So
Yeah.
anyone can be the star of the show. I'm just trying to do what I can to help those in need.
Dennis said he has you up on the boob tube.
Oh, very cool. And I will make sure you're safe and not show my face.
So you're burying your face on the boob tube. Just
What?
You're burying your face on the boob tube.
Well, I would rather bury it in the boob tube, but you know. And we all do what we can.
For some, it's more of a sacrifice. For others, not so much.
For some, it's more of a sacrifice. For others, more of a sack lunch.
Oh.
I think it's pretty much structurally sound now.
Hey, Darren's mom said, I think I'd like to have you do a Celtic cross. I've got 20 I can donate.
A Celtic cross?
What she said. She said something I can maybe turn into a tattoo later on.
Well, there is one way of going about it, isn't there? That's getting bang for your buck. As opposed to getting banged for your buck.
Totally different thing.
All right. So,
Dennis said, I've missed quite a few streams, been building portfolios. They're going to give me a job. Just stop the emails.
just to stop the emails.
Oh, just to stop the emails. Sorry. I was reading it over on a different screen, and there was a button hiding it.
There was a butt hiding it?
Button. What are you thinking about? Jeez.
Well, at the moment, I'm thinking about doing a Celtic cross.
Oh. There is a person in my employer's organization that would call it a Celtic cross.
I'm an idiot.
I did not say that.
They weren't the Celts, they were the Celts.
Yeah.
No, Boston's dumb enough calling them the Celtics, but yeah, it's Celtic. It's the Celts.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, the crosses and stuff like that, one of the places that most of them are gathered is the Book of the Celts.
My children knew better than that person does. And apparently it was all my son could do not to correct her, which blew my mind because normally that's the first thing he wants to do. Actually, it's, I could just see my son doing that and he didn't do it. And I was like, oh, you learned to hold your tongue? Oh, I am shocked.
Told him, yeah, I used to live in North Carolina. Oh, let's see. I don't know if that's a quick drawing.
So earlier when I had to leave, I had shut my door and I'd locked it so the dog wouldn't push her way in, because you know how she likes to wait about 10 minutes into me streaming and then say, oh, hey, I went out. And you're the only person. So the door was locked and somebody was knocking, and my wife's been doing work on the living room, and I thought, oh, God, what's happened? So I ran over, and it was my wife, and she's like, hate to tell you this, but Matthew Perry died. So,
wow, Richard Mall and Matthew Perry.
Who?
Yeah,
Richard Mall died too.
Oh yeah, I knew that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, but wasn't he a tad bit older than Matthew Perry, who was?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to assume that, but
Yeah, Matthew Perry. That's the guy that played Chandler on Friends, right?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah, but I don't know how old he was. Hollywood can make shit up.
54.
Probably around my age, maybe early mid-40s.
Rex just said 54, so.
Yeah, he was 54.
Oh, dude. Okay. Well, he looked a little younger than he was. Okay.
Well, it depends on when you saw him, because sometimes he looked... I know he had a drug problem for a good portion of his life.
Yeah.
But I've seen some interviews where it's just like, man, you look terrible. So, he supposedly it's because he had dental work, and I was like, no, he just looked terrible. So, whatever.
Yeah.
Apparently, he drowned. Yeah, little suspicious.
Michael Phelps drowning would be a little suspicious. I don't know if Matthew Perry could even swim.
Well, I'm just saying.
You know, if he's a fucking addict and he fell in the pool.
Well, supposedly he had gotten himself clean. But,
and yeah, I'm not laughing at him drowning either.
Yeah.
I'm just, I don't know.
I know there was a time, like, at the end of college for me, and then we moved out to Las Vegas. Like, I remember my wife and I, we saw the last episode of Friends from the penthouse room of the Ritz in Vegas. And my wife had won a contest, so her and several other people. But, yeah, just this, you know, that was one of our things. Like, Thursday nights, we would go out to eat, and then Chi-Chi's was still around then. And they had half-price margaritas, so we'd get margaritas, and then we'd go home and watch Friends, and I mean that was our Thursday nights. So, I mean, there's definitely a spot in my life that Friends highlights, but you know, I was kind of upset to hear about Bull, but I kind of thought, you know, he was older.
Yeah, like it's what just John Flair cat right now, right? Or that and Roz.
Yeah. Yeah, Richard Mole was 80. Like, that's not a big shock. It's like, all right.
Not really.
Oh, I didn't say it was a shock. I was like, wow, those two guys have had the
Same day?
Yeah. Two guys I know of, you know, like
Right.
It's not just two people, it's two people that I know the names of.
Yeah, my battery is working too.
Sure.
Keys up there.
Yeah, I think the belt needs to charge.
What effect will it get?
Yeah, I'll put both of them in. Conversation just suddenly died off.
Darren's mom just said, "Did I tell you I got a new job? Next week is my last week as an employee at the Restore, but I will still be volunteering there."
Well, you didn't tell me you got a new job.
Congratulations. And Dennis says, "Perry is my favorite of the cast. I was the only one in my house, but his kind of comedy I just loved."
Yeah, I was never really a Friends fan, so
I would not have been had it not been for my wife.
well, you know, like I said, everybody got a right to like what they like. I got no
Oh,
problem.
I know. It's not the kind of show I would have watched on my own, but since Rhonda wanted to watch it, I watched it, and then I liked it, and, you know. Darren's mom says that she'll be working at Circle K, and I don't know how to pronounce that, and I'm sure I'll butcher it, but Thompson?
Thompson.
Yeah.
See, now part of me wants to say Top Sham.
That's all right. I've heard people say Tops Ham.
Oh.
Yep, Top Sham.
Yep.
It's really pretty common sense if you think about it. But
Kind of.
the ham is for Hamlet, so I don't know what the tops is for.
No idea.
I was always surprised. So the town I grew up in was Syracuse, Indiana, and people would mispronounce it, and I'm like, "There's a Syracuse, New York that's kind of big."
Yeah,
Like,
well, there's a Calais in France, but it's Callous in Maine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is pronounced correctly.
But I'm saying it's the same spelling, so I'm not surprised that they weren't unsure how to pronounce it. Just because of that, Mexico is pronounced the same as Mexico.
Yep,
Paris
yeah.
is pronounced the same as Paris. China is pronounced the same as China, but Callous ain't pronounced like Calais.
Yeah.
That's like there's a Mexico, Indiana, there's a Chile, Indiana, and you'd think there's a Peru, Indiana, but it's not. It's Peru. I'm
Well,
like, you guys actively want that to be your name, Peru? All right.
Sounds like someone farted.
Yeah.
Well, there's a province in Nova Scotia, Canada called Dildo, so I suppose it could be worse.
That's true. It could
Maybe
be.
they make pickle bread. Ever think of that?
Maybe they have a lot of women there.
There's a place in Greece called Lesbos.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's not plural for anything. I had no idea when I started this I was going to be doing so much measuring.
Darren's mom said, I really need to change my picture on here. This one is about 7 or 8 years old. I don't even know it. Yeah, I don't think so. All right. Dennis said, oh, the memes are brutal when celebrities pass. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because either they're loved or hated. There's no in
Yeah.
between, right? If it's indifferent, nobody comments.
Yeah, and if they're famous, it's kind of rare for them to be indifferent towards them.
That's what I'm saying, you know, like, but there are some, like,
Yeah, I know. Well,
You can hear me and yeah, little squirrel.
Yeah, we've been talking about
I'm
it.
not surprised that there's a lot of memes on Bull, though.
Yeah, me and the
Because
boys are
Richard
gonna
Mall had all kinds of kind of silly characters, too.
I'm gonna play some Switch.
Okay.
Dennis said most of the Perry ones I saw were based on Chandler's one-liners. Oh, well, you got a lot. Dennis said, could I be any more whatever was the worst? But then again, I think he himself might have found them amusing. He had a pretty good sense of humor. I think he got tired of the could I be jokes, though. I remember I was teaching in Vegas, and there was a kid so obviously patterning how he behaved off of Matthew Perry. It was just, the kid was trying to be funny, and he was just doing a lot of the same jokes. And I was like, all right, well, I can see you watch Friends, but kids started getting into theater classes and whatnot, and just thought it was pretty cool. So yesterday, I walk into my classroom, and these two freshman guys are horsing around. And, I mean, they're not bad kids or anything, but they're freshmen. It's all good. So I'm like, all right, why are you hugging? And instead of being all, upset that I implied they were gay or anything, they're just like, don't you just need some, a shoulder to cry on sometimes? Which I thought was pretty good comeback for the kids. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Just knock it off. And he's like, well, don't you have a friend whose shoulder you can cry on? And I was like, well, actually, I got a friend, and his whole upper body is tattooed in black, like different tribal things and whatnot. And when I'm depressed, he lets me color them because he figures, I need a shoulder to crayon.
And I'm done.
But,
And here's your lane back.
Oh, I love doing that to the freshmen, though. I love telling them dad jokes because they all hate it with a passion, and I just think it's hilarious.
This is your future.
Yep.
Yep.
Dennis liked it.
He's just humoring you.
So the circle on that is to represent the basketball, right?
I'm going to guess it's to represent the halo, but, I guess I haven't done my research.
It's not a basketball. Oh,
Basketballs and crosses are really closely knit.
that's how you know you have a Celtic cross.
Yes, which I'm not drawing.
Dennis said my boys are often the victims of some pretty heinous dad jokes. Those are the best. Darren's mom said it's not a basketball. Oh, it's a Celtic cross, not a Celtic one then. I get it.
should actually do a drawing of that. Yeah. Ball with
Feel
cross.
free. You got some time. You can do a drawing of it.
Yeah, for that.
You could probably sell it in the shop too.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. You know how, like in the dictionary, they help you sound out the word and everything.
Yeah.
Do the thing and then put underneath it the difference in how you say it. Do like wonder what Rich is doing. This is Celtic. This one is Celtic. Learn the difference.
Oh.
Be one of them smart ass tattoos, like the rooster hanging from a noose below somebody's knee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we both know that one well.
They're just so cliche.
Yeah,
Bad jokes. It's like the turtle with the lawnmower.
yeah. Or the
Your name.
yeah, the six pack on the stomach. Yeah, 6-pack app.
Yeah.
One kind of smart ass one I thought was really creative, and we've probably all seen it, was a guy who was an amputee, lost his arm to a shark attack. Well, on the stump of it,
You talked
he
about
had-
that. I was talking about that with Brett, actually.
he tattooed the
Tattooed the
shark
shark.
head on. Yeah. Like that's a guy who got over that shit quick. They're like, fuck, I'm missing an arm. All right, well, may as well tattoo it now.
What choice do you have, though, right?
Yeah, either have a sense of humor for it or just let it fucking destroy you.
Yeah, or it sucks for the rest of your life.
Yeah. You're definitely not gonna row a boat by yourself anymore.
Nope.
I saw a one-armed drummer doing Judas Priest.
Well, look at the drummer from fucking Def Leppard. He had one arm.
No, that's not even what I'm talking about. Hold on.
Well, no, not at first he didn't, but later on he lost an arm. Kept like that.
Ever hear Painkiller?
I've heard a song called Painkiller.
From Judas Priest, right?
Yeah, there's also another one that came out by 3 Days Grace, but yeah, the original is Judas Priest.
Yeah, hold on. I'll give you a minute of it. Just so we don't get struck. So let's see. Present.
Oh.
Check this shit out. One arm, dude.
Damn. Fuck yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, right? Props, man.
Fuck yeah. Get at it, brother.
I can share that with you later on if you want to check it out. But yeah, it's like I was looking at that this morning and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive, man. Like that's not Def Leppard. Doom.
No. Sure, no. No.
And he's not even using the electric drum kit like Def Leppard's drummer was, Rick Allen.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, Yes, I agree, Dennis. Rick was definitely a damn good drummer for having one arm. I mean, especially for the time and the type of music that he was playing.
What's funny about Rick Allen is that if you listen to older Def Leppard before he lost his arm,
Yeah,
he's actually slower. His beats are actually slower.
yeah, good point. Actually, that is a really good point.
I
Actually,
was checking that out like on Pyromania, and it's like it's way slower. Just me and Eli hanging out tonight. We've been dick.
yeah, it was just me and Jenny for a while tonight. Colin was on that with his girlfriend and her parents. So
I was assuming that's why you went to dinner.
uh-huh.
I said
Yeah,
that's why.
That's why we usually don't get to go out very often.
Anyone who thought I wasn't going to draw this in perspective. I am going to fudge the perspective a little bit.
Aaron's mom said it looks good so far.
Well, and that's what matters. She's the one that's got to get approval. What you should have told me was where you wanted to put it. Because that would help design it a lot more. Tattoo-wise.
Bye, Dennis.
Bye, Dennis. Have a good night, man.
Darren's mom says probably on her calf.
You losing it. I guess I don't like where that perspective line is, really. Doesn't feel true, so... I'll redo this thing.
Ooh.
Hmm.
Cooked it crust.
You okay?
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was a cough or a sneeze. Kind of didn't translate well.
Just a little cough.
So I'd say bless you, but it didn't sound like a sneeze. Okay, so now that all the basics are done, we're going to start weathering it. Where'd you end up going out to eat, Chad?
We went to Olive Garden.
How long of a wait did it end up being?
Actually, we got seated as soon as we got there.
There you go.
Yeah.
I've never had that happen in an Olive Garden.
Now, usually, last couple times we went, it's been like maybe 5 minutes, but apparently we got them at a good time tonight.
Sounds like that's amused.
Thanks, Big Walrus. Ah. Ugly laugh. Thanks. Bye, Big Walrus.
Like,
Water.
oh no.
Hey, how about
Hi, Eli.
You say hi to Brett?
Coke? No.
We said Coke Zero. No. I'm not going to say hi to you, Coke Zero.
Oh.
Today. Just today.
You were at the job site today? Well, you got to tell him. I already know.
What you don't say. Today.
He said went to the job site with Jared. Did you hear him?
Yep. Hope you had fun.
It will play. It will play. It will play. It will play.
What?
You can't make it will play.
Oh, he took you every place?
Yeah.
I didn't even understand that for a minute. Like, what in the, what?
Do it again, Mom. Do it again, Mom.
You gonna do it again tomorrow?
Yep. Well, come on. Bring it down.
You know what's funny is I'm writing a story about a troll. So anyway.
Yeah, well, that's ironic too because the troll's really getting trolled.
So at lunch today, we went out to eat, and this older couple comes in, and the guy has like tattoos all over him and piercings and stuff, and I look over, and one of the tattoos is of the mascot for the school, and which, by the way, his name is Stretch Murphy, the mascot. A lot of people don't know that, oddly enough. But
Well, we wouldn't because we're not in Indiana.
Right. So
in that part of Indiana.
yeah, but there are people that graduate from the school that don't know his name is Stretch Murphy.
Okay.
But anyway, so this guy's got this tattoo on his arm. So I went over to him and I was like, "Hey, like, can I get a picture of tattoo?" He's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I show him on my phone because I got a picture of my son with the costume on. I was like, "Yeah, that's my kid."
Oh, you outed him all.
So he was pretty cool about it. And I think he was just pleased that somebody was interested in his tattoos, you know, because how often do you get at, "Oh, look, that tattoo is amazing," you know? But
I don't know. My clients.
Depends where you are in the world.
right. And I don't think the kind of
can't
diner I was
remember.
in, I don't think they probably get a whole bunch of
Oh,
tattooed people, well, heavily tattooed people, but I didn't care.
Yeah.
I just thought it was cool.
You know, and I can understand that in rural Indiana. Yeah, okay. I can understand that.
Yeah.
Well, probably not a lot of super heavy tattooed people out there.
Well, Marion's like the most rural urban area that I know of. It's weird. We've got, like, it used to be a bigger town, and it's just nowhere near. I mean, ever since the automotive industry kind of dried up around here, you know, it's
Right.
never really recovered.
that was the same thing pretty much with Michigan.
Yeah. So on some aspects, it's very urban, and in other aspects, it's very much not. And then, of course, we're close enough to Indianapolis and Fort Wayne
What he's saying is the criminal elements are really
Well, you get people from Chicago that like to come down for some reason. It's like, what? Don't you have enough problems up there? Stay up there.
easy prey.
I guess. I always like it when Chicago likes to blame Indiana for all their gun troubles.
Yeah, right.
Oh, sure. Oh, that's where they're getting their guns, from Indiana. It's like, yeah, that's us.
So, Brett, you asked why the long length of lead, right?
Yeah.
And I was telling you that it kept you from pressing hard, and it kind of forced you to draw looser, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is that you can lay this pencil down on the side and get a nice, even, light grade.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's your answer. Those are the three answers.
Okay.
That's four.
I have a feeling I would just break lead a lot.
Well, then you're pushing too hard, and that's the point of
Oh, I get it.
when you're lighter. But there are different pencils for different aspects, you know.
I know.
If you want to get darker shades, you're probably not going to use the pencil that's lighter. This right here is a lighter lead. If I was going to use darker shades, I would use this pencil because it's a darker lead. This is just for quick fill, and I'm actually going to erase a lot of it to get some texture. But that's the actual answer for you. Like I looked it up to make sure I was right, you know what I mean? And yeah, the consensus is the same thing, except for with the addition of you can lay that pencil much more flat on the side, because you sharpen this, but then you kind of round it. You try to kind of make a bullet shape out of it by running it on the sandpaper. And that bullet shape is not to actually sharpen it, but it's to make it available so that you can lay it flatter. And although they say that if you sharpen it with a knife with the longer tips,
Yeah.
it does stay sharper longer, and you don't have to go to a pencil sharpener as much. So you're a comic fan. Do you know who Kelly Jones is?
Kelly Jones?
Yep.
No. Wait. Do I know who that is?
You
Not
should
well
know.
enough for me not to not make me want to look it up.
You should know who it is. Kelly Jones is famous for his style. And that's kind of why I brought that up, because what I'm going to do is kind of mimic a little bit of Kelly Jones' style with the gravestones. Him and Bernie Wrightson kind of attack gravestones in a similar way.
Oh.
And as all my apprentices know, and most of my customers that have seen me actually draw their designs, I'm also going to finger smudge the shit out of it. Because although you could use a tortillan, I can get a much softer kind of overspray, foggy look. What I'm doing here is I want to have a kind of underlit look. So the light's coming this way. Backlit from below. Kind of the opposite of what we're used to seeing. But, you know, Ireland, fog. Kind of go together.
Oh, autocorrect.
Wait.
Darren's mom said hi, Eli.
Eli's gone. He doesn't stay long. He doesn't let the moss grow on the roots. He would say hi to you if he knew. I'm pretty sure. But he's gone. He wants to get up and go ride in the dump truck and dump stuff tomorrow. Can you blame him?
It's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, who doesn't want to go drive around with a dump truck and dump stuff?
Right? Kind of like, what boy doesn't like trains?
Oh, is my camera blurry? I swear. I bought this camera for my online classes. Because we had to have a specific type of camera that would, so they could see you doing their tests. So, all right, whatever. And I swear, this thing it never wants to autofocus very well. I have to keep switching between high and standard resolution. Now, I messaged my boys on a group chat. I said, "Are you guys punking me?" Because Big Walrus sounds like something they would come up with. Yeah, it was one of them. but I sat there and I was trying to text them, and it kept changing punking me to puking me. Oh. I might have to say something about his profile picture. Thaddeus had a date last night. They went and saw the Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Yeah.
And before they went, I mean, I had seen the trailer, and the trailer didn't look that bad at all. Hey, Darren's mom says, "Hey, Rich, I love the cross so far. I can drop the money off Wednesday if that's okay. Left the house for the first time today since my surgery, and I'm exhausted. I'm going to head to bed."
All right. Well, I'll work on this a little bit here, and then I'll work on it a little bit offline, since I know what you're doing it for. Thanks for the donation. I hope you get better fast.
So anyway, when I saw the trailer, I thought the movie looked like it could be okay. But I said, it's got a couple strikes against it. It's a movie made off of a video game. That's strike one. It's PG-13. That's strike two. And then my son got in the car after the movie, and he's like, "Oh, it's got cameos from YouTubers." And I was like, "Oh, God, that's strike three." So I was like, "Well, how was it?" He's like, "Oh, it was god-awful." I was like, "All right. I shall avoid that one."
It's a date movie.
What?
It's a date movie.
Well, all right, but
Something you take your date to when you don't really want to watch the movie.
yeah. I call those good movies to listen to.
I call them good nightlife.
Yeah, I caught my son streamed it on Peacock with his best friend, and I watched it. I didn't catch very much of it, but I did kind of catch some parts with Matthew Lillard, and he just seemed to be playing his same role that he did in fucking Scream.
Wow.
Yeah,
I actually find that he's a pretty versatile actor.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying.
I was surprised because I thought he was going to be just the one type of, actor. But
yeah.
after watching that piece of garbage that they call the movie, with an all-star cast, In the Name of the King.
Yeah.
They had Jason Statham. They had dude that played Hellboy.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Ron Perlman. They had Burt Reynolds. They had Ray Liotta. And that movie sucked ass. And the only decent guy in that movie was Matthew Lillard. And I'm like, he's still trying to get a job.
Yeah, it seemed to me that he channeled a lot of his acting style from back in Scream, and
that's probably what they wanted, though.
And 13 Ghosts.
13 Ghosts was a great concept. I don't
think
it's
yeah. The concept I thought was good. Execution was horrible.
Yeah.
And the most unbelievable character of the whole one was the star of the fucking movie, Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah.
Like, I was not convinced by his character whatsoever.
Yeah.
What movie are we talking about?
13 Ghosts.
Yeah.
I thought that was F. Scott. No, F. Murray Abraham.
I think he was the one that played Silas.
He was
I
the one that
remember.
played the guy that was in charge of the people that were collecting the ghosts, I thought.
Yeah. His character name was Silas.
And it's been a while since I've seen that movie. You talked to Eric?
Who, me?
Well, who else?
Yeah, it ain't me. I don't know who Eric is.
I don't know. I don't know if anybody knows a different
Yeah,
Eric.
it's fine.
Not for a couple days. Why?
Because you're supposed to talk to him and see if he wanted to do anything for this.
Yeah, he's not back in town yet.
So,
Back in town.
Yeah,
Racist?
he's no, believe it or not, he doesn't really do that anymore. No, he's out of town at a wedding for one of his cousins, I guess.
there's a guy that I work with. His name's Justin. And I don't know why, but this woman who got hired a few years ago, for some reason, thought his name was Eric. Now, there's no one in my building whose name is Eric. So where she got this idea, I have no idea. But it took her a good portion of the year to realize that his name was Justin. And to this day, we call him Eric now. And he kind of went through a midlife crisis a few years back and bought himself, I think it was a Charger. And so I got him a vanity license plate for the front, because in Indiana you don't have to have a license plate in front. And it just said "I Heart Eric" on it, and we put that on his Charger. When he discovered that, he took it off of his car, but he put it up in his classroom. And I guess he was on a Zoom call with like his kid's counselor or something, and his ex-wife was on the Zoom call as well. And she's like, "Why in the hell do you have a license plate on your wall that says I Heart Eric?" Like, she had no idea about any of that. And then he had to try to explain how we all call him Eric. Just, it's the joke that keeps on giving.
Oh boy.
Let's see. So, speaking of vanity plates,
Yeah.
after Eli did some driving, my wife got something.
This ought to be good. Okay. Brake check champion.
That's hilarious.
You got to have a good sense of humor when you got a special needs kid.
Oh, goodness.
They will test you.
Oh boy.
First thing Amanda was posting the next day, like, Eli sucks at driving.
Has he hit any buildings yet?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Like, actually, there's a dent on the front quarter panel where, so he doesn't, I don't know how to explain it. He doesn't like shift it into gear usually and drive off and then hit something. Like, he steps on the gas as he's shifting gears. So that's what happened this last time. He backed up straight out of our driveway into the neighbor's driveway, but there was a car there. But the front quarter panel, he was trying to pull it forward where we used to live, and we were parked. She was parked so that her nose was half facing the garage and half facing beyond the garage, like on the corner of the garage. And he stepped on the gas and he just pressed it into the garage so hard that it dented.
Oh.
But he does the most damage when he slaps it into into reverse and kicks the gas on.
that was always when my older boys started driving. The first thing we started having him do was just move the cars a little bit, like just like park across the alley in the abandoned yard.
Well, Eli was never meant to learn how to drive.
Well,
Like,
there were times when
facilities, but he really wants to.
Wit would just mash on that gas, just and then he'd mash on the brakes, and he'd slam back, and it's like it's not an on-off switch, like it's a gentle put, like just all the things you got to learn when driving. But my goodness, at the beginning it was terrifying, and plus, like, we would have him pull the car into the parking spot, which we have a driveway, but it has a garage next to it, which is my garage. But the garage, it's not good. I boarded it up. Like, it didn't have a garage door on it. I just boarded it up. I didn't really worry about it. Just use it for storage. But yeah, every time he'd swing that car in and get super close to the garage, I'm not really worried about damaging the garage, but I didn't want to damage the car. So and then he would be giggling because he thought it was funny because I was terrified because I could just see, bills popping up. And the joys of parenthood.
Mm-hmm.
And my younger son is going to be doing that this spring. I was like, oh, joy. So,
Well, at least you'll get them all done.
oh, I know. I'm hoping that my younger boy will be easier to teach driving to, like he was easier to potty train. So, I'm
I
hoping.
don't know if that's relatable, but okay.
I really doubt it is, but like literally for the most part, Thaddeus, my wife had this idea that when you want to start training them to use the bathroom, that you start changing their diapers in the bathroom. So they associate doing that in the bathroom. And one day she's changing Thaddeus in the bathroom, and he looked over and he saw the package of diapers, and there's a picture of a baby on it, and he asked about it. He's like, what's that? What's that? And she's like, well, it's a baby. And he's like, but I'm not a baby. And like it really offended him. And that was about it. Like, it was like a light switch. That kid was ready to go. And yeah, he had accidents, but I mean, it pretty much was just night and day with him. Easiest child I've ever heard of. So he's been in the car when his brother was driving. I'm hoping he
Learn from it.
Yeah.
So Kelly Jones did a lot of Batman stuff. He actually did the cover when Bane broke Batman's back,
Oh yeah.
or did a cover of it. I don't know if it's the only cover. I know Graham Nolan created Bane. The artist that created Bane. It was Chuck Dixon and Graham Nolan. He's got a very distinctive style, dark, a lot of solid blacks and or black and whites, negative space. He's doing Dracula right now. Pretty cool. He's been posting it on Facebook. And everything goes quiet again.
Sorry.
Yeah. I'm actually getting tired.
Yeah, it's been a rough couple of days, huh?
Yeah. Be good to catch up on some Z's.
Yeah, after this, I'm probably going to be writing for a while because tomorrow's Sunday. It's our writing day. And I'm woefully under word count.
Tomorrow I'm going to check out a four-wheeler. So, fingers crossed. I've been looking for a decent four-wheeler for a while now. So, with any luck.
You don't have school tomorrow. You'll be writing tomorrow, huh, Brett?
Oh, I'm right now. That's why I get quiet.
That's why I figured you were quiet, actually.
Yeah. Part of the problem is I really need to get like a better system for having like a story Bible. Like, I don't know, it was a week or two ago when I wrote the name of some stupid flower. And now I'm like trying to find, all right, did I describe the flower? Because I need to know what the flower looks like now. You know, just stuff like that. So I'm spending half my time searching through the stuff that I already wrote. Because I can't remember what it looks like.
Yeah, continuity. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. Like I guess I've come to a point in the story where I want to do something that's unexpected, but because of like I'm not in first person point of view, but I haven't utilized the advantages of third person.
Yeah.
So if my main character does anything, it can't do it off screen, right?
Yeah.
Because he's the point of view character.
You know, I had a thought about that the other day. So,
I see it all the time in omniscient stuff, like historical fiction, but I don't see it in close third.
My problem with close third, it's not really a problem, I don't think, but it's something that leaves me wondering about it, is with that view of you have to stick with what the protagonist is there for and can observe.
Well, it's the point of view character.
Okay, whatever, the point of view character.
Well, it changes if you utilize multiple point of view characters. I just haven't.
Okay.
So I mean, you can go on. I was just saying, like, it's not a restriction like saying you can't switch to a different point of view. I just haven't, so it would be kind of odd at this point, where I'm almost to the end, to switch points of view.
Yeah. I think I read something where it was either Dave Wolverton or one of the other judges, but I think it might have been Dave Wolverton that said something about how you, like, in a short story, you should stick with one point of view character.
Yeah, the less that you can, the better.
But I'm like, okay, all right, but what about dramatic irony?
It's also one, the other end of that is that it's only supposed to be like one problem. That's why you're going to have one point of view. Because it's one person that's at risk, for lack of a better term. It's one person that has the most to lose, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, not to interrupt you, but I just wanted to finish that thought. I think without that, it lacks complete explanation.
But that means you can't use dramatic irony. Because you can't know more than what the point of view character knows.
And they say that for omniscient, right?
I guess, but I mean, I don't know. Dramatic irony is a real technique, and
Can you think of any examples that it's been used in third person limited?
I would have to look. And it kind of depends.
So what I want to do is have something like him pull a fast one, like him hide something very quickly. You know what I mean? That will be relevant later on. But I don't want to stop the action and process and explain that he hid something, because that would kind of ruin that twist, you know?
Maybe you should bury it in some other information.
I don't know how to. That's what my issue is. I mean, like, I'm open to suggestions if anybody has a suggestion for it, but
well, that's like something that I recently did. I don't know. Hold on, let me look at my file here. Because if it's... Yeah, okay. So there was a section in last week's submission where I think, I'm pretty certain it was last week's. Originally, the way I had kind of thought it out was during that interrogation scene where, you know, Snarl puts the tracking beacon on the other guy. He steals money from him. And later on, they use that to get through a door. And originally, I wasn't going to mention the fact that he stole it from the guy. It was just going to be one of those things that he reveals later on. Which, that all technically happens. But then I decided I would mention it in one line, in between other things. And that way I was covered. You know, you can't say I withheld information. I just didn't dwell on that information. And if it slips by somebody, then it slips by and it works. And if it doesn't, or
yeah,
if
I don't think that would work for me in my situation because the thing that he's pulling the switch with is the MacGuffin. You know.
Oh, this is not the MacGuffin. So
right. So that's why I'm like, Remember at the end of Willow?
Yeah.
Where he had the baby and then he did the magic trick shit?
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of be like that, but if you're writing it from Willow's point of view, the audience knows that the baby is not, the audience knows the baby's safe. Of course, didn't they do that? I'm like, I'm thinking about it now. The bad guy didn't know that, but
This is the problem with knowing too much.
Or watching so many movies throughout your lifetime that you can't bring the details to mind this quick. Oh, you mean like as the author knowing too much?
Yeah, like we know too much about our trade. Where when I first started writing, I would have just written it the way you wanted to. Yeah.
Right. And thought it was brilliant.
Well, I just would have done it. I mean, it was like, would have not known any different. And
I'm being facetious because like that was where I was when I first, was like, oh yes, I'm an artist and I know. And I started realizing stuff like, oh yeah.
That's one of those things where when I was in college and I was taking creative writing courses, which for those of you who may be watching, I don't advise taking creative writing courses ever. You can take them from actual writers, but not from a college. And that's the person that works in the class is actually a writer.
Right, there's a saying that those that can't do teach, right?
Yeah, that is. Never have I seen that more than in college creative writing courses, where it's just like you can tell the person has an MFA, but they're not published. It's like, But yeah, I mean, I would write stuff that now I know. I mean. But I wrote the first short story that I wrote. There was a literary magazine for the school, and I submitted it, and they accepted it and published it. And that's cool and all, except for I really wish they kind of would have said no, just get the rejection over with. So there was I don't know why, but it just. For a long time, I would not move on to the next story until I had sold one that I had written. And that is not the way to handle things. You should be writing continuously.
Right.
But
that's that whole writer's right thing.
Yeah.
Writers don't wait to publish their baby, they write.
Yeah.
And while those submissions are out there being judged, rejected, accepted, whatever, they're writing the next thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to enlarge this. I don't know if anybody can see it anymore.
I sometimes wonder if that's kind of what happened with like Hemingway didn't write a whole bunch. Neither did F. Scott Fitzgerald. And I kind of think that's because they're working on their next big project, you know?
Well, part of that I think also is that they had to start from scratch. Like every time they had to correct a page or whatever, they had to correct the whole fucking page. And if there's a forgotten word or a typo or whatever, they had to start all over again.
I never thought about that in those terms. But in The Great Gatsby, there's a scene. Well, it's the description of the eyes of Dr. T.J. Eichelberg, which is one of the biggest symbols in all of American literature. And there's technically a problem with it because it says the retinas are like 1 yard high. You don't see a person's retinas.
Right.
So I think he means irises because he says they're blue and 1 yard high. And I'm like, yeah, that's the iris. That's not the retina.
Right.
But yeah, if you had to rewrite the entire page to fix that.
Or maybe the next 2 pages because the word shift, the sentences shift.
Yeah. So I doubt that's why it made it through all the revisions, but it's still something that kind of tickles me when I know that here is this book that's amazing. It's still got a mistake.
So the idea is to have this nice and clean and dark where the Terminator line is, where the edge of the shadow and edge of the light is, and then fade off into the fog or smoke as it goes. And I want to have some weathered chips and bangs in it. And it gets away from the light source. I'm pre-planning for how much black I don't want to color, because unlike canvas or paper or whatever, you don't just color solid black and have it just stay solid black on one shot. At least in my experience, it always needs some kind of touch-up. There's some kind of finished spots or... But there's also some dramatic quality to it, being detailed on the edge and then kind of fading out as you get back. That sounded like a video game part again.
Yeah.
Sounds like Final Fantasy. Or at least it does to me anyway.
I
Yeah.
haven't played Final Fantasy and
Maybe
not since
God of
college.
War then too.
What?
And maybe something out of like God of War, maybe too,
Yeah.
or
It just seems
Skyrim
like
or Scrolls or
Final
something.
Fantasy story part. You know what I mean? Like, there's
Yeah.
enough
Yeah.
Final Fantasies, but they always have these reveals in the story parts, and they try to add drama to the music, and
Yeah.
that's kind of what it sounds like to me. So, and then it ends like it's a Superman suite or something. Right? You have plans for Halloween? Have to drive the
No.
kids around? Are you going to put candy out? Or
Well, I mean, there aren't a lot of kids in my neighborhood, and
well, I don't know.
with the boys being, 15 and 16, I'm not doing anything. Like they can
Yeah,
go
they
do
want to go
something.
out and party on their own, right?
So there's the band is doing a trunk or treat thing that the boys are participating in, and so like they've made, or my older boy made a costume and stuff for it, and whatever. There was, so my wife teaches that cardio drumming class on Saturday mornings, and so she's had like spooky music for the past couple classes, and we had costumes today, which I just grabbed. So we had an old sheet, an old white sheet that I cut holes out of, and I figured,
Uh-oh.
well, I'm a booer, so that
Sounds
works.
racist.
It was a ghost, man.
Chef's afraid of ghosts?
And then Thaddeus grabbed a sheet and was doing the same thing, except for his was slightly off color, like it was slightly yellowed. And I was like, "Oh, you're a ghost with R. Kelly sheets." And just,
The thing is, it wasn't a ghost with Amber Heard sheet.
oh yeah,
That's a shitty ghost.
that's true. Oh God, that would be funny though. Just take a sheet, smear it with brown stuff, and say you're the ghost of Amber Heard sheets. God, that's hilarious. But trying to cardio drum wearing a sheet over your head is not the easiest thing. But I broke a stick today, which is the first time I've ever broken a stick. So I was excited.
You could do it like a Pig Pen from Peanuts. 700 holes in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dressing
And
up,
the eye-
Chad? You guys got
Yeah.
plans?
for Halloween.
Yeah.
Really just we usually have pizza night and then watch scary movies all night.
I don't know why my school decided to have they're calling it an asynchronous e-learning day, which basically means we post stuff on Google Classroom and the kids stay home on November 1st, which I think is pretty darn sweet for the kids because they can go out on Halloween and do whatever and then not have to go to school the next day. I still have to go to work, but the boys don't.
Why do you have to go to work?
Oh, because just because it's an asynchronous e-learning day for the students doesn't mean that we don't have to do something.
Well,
I'm sure there'll be professional development all day.
I was just saying, like, why do you have to be there? And if you're not, if they're not there, why can't you be online?
No, it'll probably be professional development. That's probably why we're doing it. I don't know. They haven't told us what we're doing. I just know I still have to show up for work. Chad, last time you were on here, you said, I think it was you. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
You said something about defending, like, your business or something during a riot. About, if they set it on, having the high ground is not going to keep you safe, and if they set your building on fire.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that, and I think Biden said something recently about how you don't need to have, a whole bunch of rounds in your magazine. Like, nobody goes hunting with however many rounds in the.
He's just so full of shit. It's like all cops are going to shoot with one bullet, right?
Right. But.
Yeah.
But I got to thinking about that, and I'm like, if the riots aren't an argument against that, then nothing is. Like, by being able to say, no, I need a gun that fires relatively quickly and can lay down some kind of suppressive gunfire to keep my building safe from the riots that you won't stop. It seems to me the government failed its job at protecting its citizens, and this is what the Second Amendment is partially for, so that I can protect my home or my business from mobs.
And stuff like, the Palestinians coming into Israel and going into homes and just killing people in front of their kids. And there's a lot of reasons for the Second Amendment.
Well, I mean, so there's an argument about if someone just, if you're just sitting in your house watching TV, and like, technically, I could ram through one of the windows directly into my living room and shoot up my house without anyone inside the house having time to grab a weapon.
Yeah,
like,
but unless you're just my house.
Well, okay, most people
in my house.
Depends on the house.
I'm just saying, if you're direct, you jump into the room and there you are, and you've got a gun in your hand versus someone who doesn't. It's just a matter of timing. And I get that. Like, there's no way to protect yourself 100%. That's just life. But saying that you don't need, a bunch of bullets because, you're a law-abiding citizen who only goes out and hunts, kind of ignores the idea of riots that
it ignores
are
the idea
more
of
prevalent.
Protecting your home. It ignores the idea of protecting against tyranny. It ignores the idea of protecting against home invasion from anybody, not just criminals that are inside the United States, but people that are invading secretly in waves in the United States. It doesn't matter.
Well, I agree. Overall, it doesn't matter. But the argument that gets presented that you don't need that many bullets, if you need that many bullets, you suck at shooting.
Only by idiots.
Depends on if you have that many targets.
Well, here's my interpretation of what, at least what I always believe that the Second Amendment really meant. Not only is it to protect the citizenry from a tyrannical government, but also the founding fathers also realized that there are criminals out there, and criminals obviously do not follow laws. Therefore, policing has always been an issue even since colonial days.
Well, yeah, because there was no police department until the 1800s. And
exactly. And
even then, they weren't necessarily given weapons like guns and whatever.
Well, and here's also something too. that
Yeah,
a lot of
torture.
people don't seem to totally realize is that law enforcement has never, and I repeat, never been obliged to put themselves in harm's way to protect citizens.
Yeah, well,
Never.
the Supreme Court didn't actually rule on that until the 60s. So there could be a reasonable expectation that a cop would do something to protect you. But to protect and serve is not a law. It's a motto that California created to make their cops more friendly.
Yeah.
Or appear more friendly.
So for me,
seriously,
as far as
people think that to protect and serve is their job because it's printed on their cars, but it's not. It's just a slogan.
It's false advertising.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's like saying, "Hey, this is what we're here for," even though that's not what we're here for.
Yeah. So the founding fathers, of course, realized that police or law enforcement of some capacity were not really obliged to put themselves into harm's way, i.e., get in the middle of a stabbing, get in the middle of a shooting, or something that would put the officer or constable's life in danger. So they realized this and came up, along with one of the benefits of the Second Amendment was our ability to protect ourselves from criminal elements, because the police force is not necessarily obliged to either one, protect you, and number two, to stop them from doing it. Right. See, that's something we just found out recently with this unfortunate event that happened in my city.
Well, we've known forever that the average response time for the police when they're called in an emergency is 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, a shooter can shoot up fucking 10 places.
Exactly, like we just found out. They couldn't stop what happened at spare time. He left, went to Schmangy's, shot up some more, and then left and went and ditched his car and fucking left. The police couldn't stop him. They couldn't prevent those people from getting killed.
They couldn't even decide really where they're supposed to be going. They claimed that they were there in the first 4 minutes, but that's bullshit. It took more than 4 minutes for them to figure out what particular scene that they should be showing up at.
So following
all
this logic,
that they don't want you to see, you know?
Yeah, following this logic, for me anyway, this is exactly why the founding fathers created the Second Amendment in the first place. It was not just about tyranny. It was about the citizenry being able to protect themselves from the criminal element, i.e., the other citizens out there who are willing to commit crime.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I totally agree with that.
Besides,
but I do know that when that law was made, it was 2 years after the amendments were started because they wanted to word it properly. They wanted to take their time and care into what they were saying. However, they didn't have a police force at that time. Really, they didn't have police.
Not really.
And
that
really
it was
didn't have much for constables. And what they did for constables, they were walking around with wooden sticks.
Yeah.
That had an attachment with a wooden stick that clacked. They were called clackers. Imagine that. And when they came upon someone that was hurt, someone that was dead, whatever, they clacked those sticks. That was there before we had whistles, you know. But when they started actually first doing a police force, they only gave them truncheons.
Yeah.
They didn't give them guns.
No.
When you say like they weren't focusing on tyranny, I think you're wrong because.
Oh no, I don't mean focusing on it. They weren't just focusing on
You're
tyranny.
saying that tyranny is a multiple definition word, especially
True.
in that time period. It wasn't
True.
just a ruler that was being, the people were being downtrodden by a ruler. It was also that they said, we can stay in your houses and you can't have any guns to, injure us and whatever.
Yeah.
Whether they were being abusive, criminal, or whatever in their behavior at all. I don't think that they were thinking criminal behavior at that point in time. They were thinking that you have the right to hunt, you have the right to protect your house from Indian attack. At that time, actually, there's still a law in the books in Maine that every Sunday somebody has to bring a shotgun to church in case of Indian attack.
Yeah,
So-
it's true. It's true.
Like there are other factors that we're not including. You have to have a gun to be safe from a bear attack. Well, there's plenty of indigenous creatures and indigenous people and other peoples. Like at that time, when we first started forming the United States, we had the Spanish, we had the French, and the others. The other indigenous tribes.
Yeah.
There was a lot to look out for. Like when we think of the revolution, we think like, well, that was the birth of a nation, and all of a sudden there were cars in cities and whatever. That really wasn't true. They had New York City, but like 50 miles outside of New York City, a fucking Indian could scalp their ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't like, hey, you can just do whatever you want because now we call it America. There were lots of reasons for protection, and they weren't thinking, I don't think they were thinking criminal so much as protecting your home, protecting your family from any type of attack, human or otherwise.
Yeah.
And being able to feed your family because there weren't grocery stores and all that kind of crap. Because, grocery stores produce meat.
Yeah.
You don't have to kill any animals. You go to the grocery store. Yeah, like I think that there until there was a police force and a need for. You got to remember, like even in those times in the colonial period, to get a conviction for murder, they literally had to confess.
Yeah.
They either literally had to confess or somebody had to literally, more than one witness, see them doing it. And that was still considered circumstantial because you couldn't prove that the fellow citizens, unless you could prove that they were a supremely upstanding citizen, didn't have something against that person,
Yeah.
Just things that we don't consider these days because nobody makes false claims anymore, right? They're all on the up and up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's no home invasions. There's no animal attacks. Like I guarantee you, if you're driving around and a bear fucking starts attacking, you're on a fucking 4-wheeler and a bear comes out of the fucking woods, you're not shooting one shot to put it down because you're a badass. You're gonna empty that fucking magazine and then still run.
Yeah, I've got personal experience with that one. It's funny you mentioned it.
So I'm just,
Maybe you remember that story I told you.
no, I'm not making any claims. Like I was saying, most of the bear that we see that are baited and stuff like that are smaller bears because the smaller ones go for the bait, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, even the bigger bears are as big as, slightly bigger than the biggest human, right?
Yeah.
We're talking black bears because that's what's in our area. Like definitely grizzlies and definitely brown bears are a lot bigger than that. So I'm not trying to shout, but more than likely those bears aren't going to just run out a human and attack a human. They're only going to do that when you're stumbling on something in their territory. But still, it's quite possible you could stumble on something in their territory.
Which is exactly what happened to me. In case you're wondering, Brett, what I meant by that, this was a number of years ago now, maybe 8-10 years ago now. I was out on my buddy's property in a town called Buckfield here in Maine. It's very rural, basically at the foothills of some mountains. Well, he owns 26 acres of property. So we were out on his trails riding four-wheelers. I just happened to have brought my pistol with me that day. So I was thinking about doing a little bit of shooting down on his range like we usually do. Well, we had stopped at some point. I forget what it was that my buddy was showing me on his property, but we heard a little bit of crunching sound behind us. Luckily, we left the four-wheelers running. We just kind of, we put them in park and just kind of hopped off them. When he's showing me something, we hear this crunch behind us. Well, we sprint around and look, thinking maybe it was, whatever, maybe a deer. Certainly weren't expecting a baby bear, baby black bear.
Oh. So
at first we're like, oh, how cute. Then of course it clicked in our brains going, wait a minute. If there's baby, where the hell's mommy or daddy?
Yeah.
So we start slowly backpedaling back to the four-wheelers. Well, I just happened to turn and start to grab the first handlebar to jump on the four-wheeler, and I saw Mama. She started hauling ass toward me. At that time, she was maybe 50, 60 yards away. But bear can close that distance quick.
Yeah.
So the only thing I could think to do was, of course, I scrambled to jump on the fucking four-wheeler, and I pull out my pistol. I already had a round chambered. And as I'm hitting the throttle, I'm popping a couple of rounds into the dirt in front of the bear to hopefully to divert it away, and I just fucking hit it. I end up twisting my ankle trying to scramble onto the fucking four-wheeler. Yeah, that was an interesting day. We get back to his house. All I could do was I get off the four-wheeler. I'm limping and laughing my ass off. I'm nearly fucking die. Like, okay. So, needless to say, I don't go on my buddy's back property without a firearm.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we don't think about what was there at the time. And the dangers that were inherent at that time. But there are different dangers, and there's still dangers inherent in these times.
Absolutely.
And we're, there are many more people, and many more people that are apt to be violent.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
it definitely seems to be a bigger trend these days. People seem to be more apt to react violently to almost any situation. I mean, fucking, if you think, fucking road rage happens all the God, I see it all the time here, all the fucking time. People wanting to jump out of their fucking cars and try to confront people and everything, and sitting there going, stop. One of these days, one of these dumb motherfuckers is going to get shot by somebody who just got fucking scared and fucking feared for their life, and they're going to pop your ass full of lead just because you were a hothead.
And they have every right to. Because if they're in fear for their life, they're in fear for their life.
Just I guess just illustrating this level of stupidity, I guess.
Yeah.
Or the willingness to jump right to violence rather than to just tell somebody off, get back in your fucking car and go away.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because guns are the great equalizer, right?
Yeah.
Or,
I'm just amazed at how many people who don't have guns then mouth off and act like they're I don't know, like. So during the height, well, I'm just during the lockdowns, when the lockdowns started to kind of be lessened, and you could walk around outside, and they were starting to say, if you're not around people that, large groups, you really need to have a mask. And I was out walking with my wife on one of the greenways around here, and this dude who was this chubby little dude on a bike with, I'm assuming his wife, I don't know, maybe it was his mom. He starts charging at us on his bike, yelling at us because we're not wearing masks, which I'm like, okay, if you're getting closer to me because you are upset I'm not wearing a mask outdoors, you're stupid. And then I was also thinking, A, I know how to fight. B, I'm more than happy to do something about some jackass yelling at my wife. And C, what if I had a gun? Like, I am way more dangerous than any virus.
Yeah. Yeah.
God.
The virus will kill you slowly, but that bullet's going to kill you rather quickly.
Yeah. That's all I think about. Like, a human being is way more dangerous than a disease. Just.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
for sure.
Yeah. In every way, shape, or form.
Yeah, with the exception of certain diseases, or viruses.
Well, I mean,
and kill you pretty fucking quick.
That's true.
But yeah. I mean, definitely, human beings are the most dangerous fucking creature on the planet.
Yeah.
Get right fucking down to it. We are literally capable of anything at any time.
Yep. That's why zombie films never made sense to me, though.
Yeah, like that mama bear charging me. If I hadn't have been anywhere near that baby, I probably never even would have seen that bear.
Probably right. Because you're a big enough threat. I mean, the bear's not scared, but humans are big enough to be imposing, or at least, do you really want to mess with something that big?
Yeah.
It's just like when we look at a creature that's smaller than us, but we're like, yeah, I really don't want to get bit or whatever for no reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, all wild animals are a little bit timid, and
yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily because they recognize us as humans or whatever. They just recognize that we can articulate body parts that they can't, which are alien to them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think maybe that has something to do with it, but most wild animals don't just attack unless they have a taste for blood or something. The exceptions to the rule are because of some extraordinary exception. That kind of sounds like it's cyclic, but or cyclic, whatever. But the reason that there's exceptions to the rule is because circumstances change people and things.
Yeah.
Like, all of us, like, as writers, we know this, right? We create people that have pasts that help shape them. We create people that have obligations that help shape them. Or if we're creating a society or explaining society, how Japan is different than America, for instance. We have societal differences that create us. We have sensibilities that inform us. So everything that happens in the wild, anything that happens in the wild is going to be subject to manipulation based on that, right?
Right.
And an animal may not necessarily recognize that, but they will recognize things based on their own personal experience. They don't have to be the one that had been shot to hear a loud bang and see another one drop, or a deer drop, or there's. I think those are factors that we don't consider very often, but it's just like in talking about colonies and colonial stuff, that all these things, all these experiences, all the things that take place in or around what's going on affect what's going on, affects the rules that are made and what we accept and don't accept. That's how they're trying to change us from what we were, like changing the language, because the change of language is the change of experiences, because you can't describe your experiences as somebody else described them. Or when you read someone else's experiences now, you don't necessarily think they mean what they meant then, because the words are different. So that's one difference between people and animals, is that we can record events that changed us. So that's why we're in the boat we're in, because everybody's trying to change us with events, right?
Okay.
Think about it. You've been manipulated by events your whole life.
That's
Whether
true.
you think about it, like at the time, most of us don't think about it. A couple of weeks ago, it was Ukraine. The events didn't affect us, but it was events.
Yep.
Now it's Israel and Palestine. The events don't affect us in America. They affect people that have relatives over there, and the Jewish people who feel like the Palestinians are out to kill all Jews, which is, part of the manifesto.
Yeah, I was gonna say, which they are.
Well, I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm just trying to. I'm only expounding on what they have already claimed. I'm not making claims for them. They make claims themselves, and I'm just pointing them out, right?
Yep.
Like I'm not saying, like, when we were talking about the shooter, we were speculating. And we said right out, we were speculating. This isn't a fact. We don't know this is a fact. This is speculation, but this is what it feels like. What we're talking about now is fact. I'm not speculating.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that, they've written literally in stone, right? So,
and they make no bones about it. As a matter of fact, they keep repeating it quite often.
right. But yeah, we're being manipulated by events. So when those in charge see that we care about this cause, or it's a valid cause, they push that initiative to manipulate us into what they want us to do. How quick was it when there was a shooter up here that they started talking about taking away concealed carry?
Yeah.
When that shooter didn't use concealed carry at all. Has nothing to do with what that shooter was doing.
Yeah, it was literally hours. Literally.
Right, and like I said, the key thing to that is that that shooter was using a rifle. He wasn't concealing that shit.
Yeah, exactly. The only
It's not
reason
that he
the only
Nothing-
freaking gun that was involved was the one that he blew his own fucking head off.
Right, and you know,
Fact.
that's not necessarily an easy tactic to do with a rifle either, but that's more speculation.
Well, not impossible, but still.
I didn't say impossible. I said more difficult.
Yes, definitely. I mean, Kurt Cobain supposedly used a double barrel shotgun, so
Oh goodness.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's the same thing. I don't think the times being what they are any different. I think we were manipulated even back then into making certain decisions for fear of the War of 1812.
you don't even really have to go that far back either, really. Fucking look at let's just say.
Well, I'm just saying that far. I'm saying as an example, it's been around since that far back. It's been around since further back.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm saying it's nothing new. And yeah, you can find all kinds of more contemporary
Examples.
but you see how this is designed to fit on the calf?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't talking to you. You should be seen because I've taught you better. I've taught you how this is designed to fit on the calf.
Yeah, I freaking hope so.
Basically, this is the shape of a calf.
Right.
So this is designed to fit on the calf because that's what she was wanting to do. I can fill that shape with shades, smoke.
Yep.
I can do it with mountains and scenery or whatever, just so long as I have that area laid out.
Yep.
Right.
This is why I relate all art in the same way. Like when I talk about writing, I talk about sketching as in the same thing, because as I'm doing all this, some of this work was done with the eraser, but I couldn't use the eraser unless there was something to erase. And that's the same thing with writing. I mean, you can't edit something that's not there to edit. You can't correct something that you don't know needs corrected because you haven't written it.
Right.
So, and I talk about kind of sculpting it. It's because I knew the shape that I'm working with the whole time. I'm starting off with this cross. I want to turn it at an angle so that I can get that dramatic lighting effect. But once she told me where she wanted to put it, that's when I did this. That's when I put this angle in there, because then I can make it look like there's smoke drifting across it and fade it out.
Yep.
But I couldn't do that if she was going to plan it for the inside of her arm or her chest or bikini line or something like that. I'd have to be able to design it to fit that body part.
Yeah.
I knew pretty much that she wasn't going to go in those areas, so I was pretty sure it was going to be something like a leg. She couldn't go on the back. The back's gone. It's all one big phoenix. It would be. I guess it would be possible to add it into her sleeve, but that's another thing she would have had to tell me to do ahead of time. And that's mostly because there's stuff existing in that sleeve already.
Yeah.
Another thing that I'm doing by doing this is creating the edge a little bit better. Creating the edge contrast a little bit better, I should say. I'm actually creating 3 tones, but then I can use that eraser and edit it. Throw smoke in. I'm sure it's darker on one side. That's opposite to the darker on the actual cross.
Hey, Cyrus. What's up, buddy? Hey, buddy.
Well, that's not. It wasn't a whole lot of a fundraiser, but we raised a little bit.
Yeah. No. Little's better than none.
Right, you know, with some pack of Band-Aids or something.
Hey.
It's one of those things, you know, you're doing it for the right reasons, no matter how much or how little you accomplish.
Yep.
Then you're a winner, right? Like I feel like I'm a winner because I accomplished what I was trying to. I raised some money for them, and I think I'll make it available if anybody. And I also put a link in the description box to the GoFundMe to help them. Wow. So it's not purely what I'm doing, so anyone could stop in and help them also. So yeah, I can still help them. And I think I'm going to keep that that link in the description box for the next few streams anyway, because I really still want to help. And you know, there's some pre-existing art that I have that I'd still sell for donations. So I've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle and a couple of other similar drawings. I've got that big Jim Lee Prophet homage. And that, for a decent donation, somebody can have that one too. It's already drawn, so. Now look at that too. Give me a eraser. This kind of feels like Conan 1985.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, speaking of Conan, I just found a action figure for Conan of that particular era on Big Bad Toy Store the other day. Thinking about getting it for my collection.
Well, one of the kids bought me a Conan action figure. And a Punisher action figure. Go figure. They bought me a Punisher action figure.
Gee, I wonder why.
And the Punisher action figure is one of those bobbleheads. Like one of the big head ones.
Funko Pops.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jenny's got a little bit of a collection of those.
Yeah, it's not really my thing. I keep it because
No,
my kids got it.
Yeah,
I keep it because my kids got it for me, but that's not something that I normally go for.
Yeah, I gave pretty much all of mine to Jenny. I did have a little bit of a collection though. I had Pinhead and Doc Holliday and Virgil Earp from Tombstone. A couple of Deadpools.
I can't resist saying they're not from Tombstone, they're from history.
Fair enough. Very true. Very true. That's true. They are actually
Tombstone just dramatized them. There was actually another movie at that same time period that dramatized them called Wyatt Earp.
Yeah.
Dennis Quaid played Doc Holliday.
That was the one with where Kevin Costner played Wyatt Earp. Yeah.
Now, those guys didn't do nearly the job that they did in Tombstone, but
yeah, they did put a lot of good research into it, and I mean, the casting that they
really looked the part. I mean,
great, yeah. I personally, for me, it's one of my favorite westerns of all time. Well, I guess I should say contemporary western. Something that happened within the last 50 to 60 years. As the old school, classic westerns, a bit before my time, but
I actually enjoyed the new version of the Magnificent Seven. I didn't think I was gonna, but it was a really fun movie.
Yeah.
Was that the one with crap?
Denzel Washington and Chris Pratt and
yeah.
D'Onofrio.
Yeah. Okay.
Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio. That was a great part.
Yeah.
Westerns, though, I've seen so many of them. You know, Brett, we were talking. What the hell was it we were talking about? Something to do with writing.
Okay.
And did you see the links that I put up on Slack
Which one? I mean,
about with writing with
the gym.
Orbit Books seminar?
I think. I don't know. I think those.
They're basically hour-long seminars for writers, but a lot of this is stuff that it's rehashed for us. But
Oh,
some of it has a little bit different of a take on it. Enough different of a take to just give it a breath of fresh air. So I started thinking about some exercises because we were talking about nobody being able to end anything anymore. All the writers not ending stuff.
right.
George Martin just released it. He's not giving any more updates on The Wind of Winter. He's not giving any more updates. And I thought that was really funny because, like, you haven't updated it in fucking 12 years. If I'm waiting as long for an update as I am for the fucking book.
Yeah.
But yeah, like so I was thinking that it's these days nobody wants to write an ending. Nobody has endings, And I was wondering, how many people out there right now are really in the practice of looking for the ending before they start writing.
Right.
It got me to thinking about.
Well, of course, nobody wants to freaking write an ending anymore, Rich. There's too much money to be made in sequels and prequels and all, backstories and spin-offs and shit. So nobody wants to write an ending.
Well, the problem with that is that's only true of movies because there's umpteen thousand fucking trilogy books that don't sell for shit except for among a clique.
Well, okay, fair enough.
So,
but I don't know.
I think that's the problem with it is because nobody's getting any endings, and pretty soon all the worlds are starting to look like knockoffs of somebody else's world.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, I get that.
So I was along this line of thinking, right?
Okay.
I was also like watching those seminars, and some of them mentioned taking like mythology and certain stories and basically writing them in different locations, like writing say the story of Oedipus, but putting it on a spaceship, and that's sci-fi.
Okay.
And that's not the best example, but it's just something that off the top of the head. So I was thinking, and a lot of these stories, they're adventure stories or buddy stories, buddy cop stories. They're just rehashed or respun. Actually, one of these has the same argument I had with "There's Nothing New." You're just redoing other stories. Like you're taking somebody else's plot that already exists with somebody else's character that already exists and blah. So I got to thinking, if we're going to look at stories genre-wise, right?
Okay.
So you got like buddy stories, you got mystery stories, you got thriller stories, which are basically mystery with danger added. Danger to the investigator added. Adventure stories and all this. By those kind of genres, like it doesn't matter like sci-fi and all that, because you can interchange them, as like I was just saying. But for study purposes or for thinking purposes, for instance, what's a good ending to a pirate movie? There was a whole genre of pirate movies for forever, right?
Yeah.
What's a good ending?
When it, whichever side you focused on sails off into the sunset. That's the end.
That's not the ending. That's the denouement.
Okay, some kind of
the ending is what your point is, what you're going through the story to get to, what the payoff is. Sailing off into the sunset's not the payoff, unless the payoff was to win some chick and then you're sailing off into the sunset with her.
I'm just saying.
So I mean, pirate movies are either about capturing the pirates, right, or the pirates getting away, one way or the other, right? Is there any other? Is there any other thing? Is there any other type of real pirate movie besides the pirates getting away with the goods, or they're getting caught and hung and whatever?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it.
There was a whole genre of them, and that's all they could come up with is two plots.
Okay.
So my point is about endings, right?
Right.
The pirate movies, you're probably not going to remember a pirate movie. It's probably not going to stick out to you because of the ending. It's going to stick out to you because of the characters or the events that they have to transpire.
Okay.
So the satisfying ending is only satisfying if the right obstacles are in the way for them to overcome to get what's the satisfying ending. So
Okay.
I'm gonna end this stream and I'll talk to you for a second after.
Okay.
Well, because it'll be 3.5 hours in the last half hour, nobody's watching, and when I'm not drawing, I'm done with that drawing.
All right. Cool.
I'm not sure what I'm doing on the other one at the moment. So I'm going to say thank you for everyone that has watched. If you want to help with the GoFundMe for the victims of the shooting, that link is in the description below the video. Thank you for watching. As usual, if you like the content, hit like, subscribe if you want to see more. Ring the bell for notifications. Good night. God bless. Much love.
Hey.
Bye.